What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be doing a review on the Superare S50 made in Italy boxing gloves. So stay tuned. All right, so I have the Superare S50 made in Italy boxing gloves. We'll do a close-up weigh-in and review on. I know you guys have been waiting for this one, so here it is. I've had this in my rotation for a couple of weeks now, and have a good idea of how these perform and the overall quality. Now, whenever you think of Italian leather or Italian leather goods, which include boxing gloves like the ones you see here, you're really looking at just like a higher degree of craftsmanship and quality. That's what, Italian leather goods are known for. Whether it's like a leather belt or a purse, a handbag, their clothing, that's really just what Italy has always been known for. And so there's a couple things here that I do like, and there's also a couple things I'm not a fan of, which I'll kind of discuss here. But the first thing obviously is going to be the leather. Now, the leather is really, really nice. It has a more, I don't know how to explain it, but it has more of a supple feel to it. Not like any of the other gloves I've tried. The grain to the leather definitely reminds me of something like Fly, which is out of the UK, but a little bit more softer to the touch, and it has a little bit more of a glossy feel. Now, I don't know if that's because of the way they dyed this particular color, but you can see that the actual leather has a nice shine to it. You have the Super Made in Italy logo that they use on this particular model. That's different than the other line of gloves they have. The Superare with the Italian on the stitching on the back with the patch on the Velcro strap that uses the leather as well. 16-ounce weight tag. The liner uses this really nice soft polyester nylon liner that's on the inside. And then on the palm side, well, let's actually look at the actual padding. The padding on the back of the wrist is about 1 inch. And then on the inside of the wrist, I'd say 3/4 of an inch on the gloves. And you can see the actual padding kind of goes up right here and it ends right where that's at. One thing I noticed with this particular glove, which I'm not a big fan of at all, is going to be the stitching miscue right there. So it's purely aesthetic, but to me, for a glove of this caliber, for what you're paying, you shouldn't have any stitching that looks like that whatsoever. So, obviously from a construction standpoint, does it affect the durability of the glove? No, but if you're looking for a perfect glove, then obviously you would want perfect stitching. So you can see a little bit of it being off right there. So that was probably one of the biggest, I'd say, opportunity with this glove was going to be that stitching. You have the attached thumb right there, nice large grip bar, and you can see all the leather. So you have the black and the purple split palm. On both. Now the stitching on this one actually looks good. Looks clean. Overall looks pretty good. You can see some of the leather, how it wrinkles up right there, has a nice look to it. And the same thing with the leather. The Velcro strap has that same kind of Italian leather that they use in this. So the leather is definitely the biggest highlight, I would say, of this glove. And then they use a multi-layer foam that is definitely more pillowy. So this is definitely a little bit more on the medium to soft density side. So these are definitely great for sparring. They're a much more pillowy feeling glove. They're not hard by any means. They're not dense. They're just really nice and plush feeling. And so you can see that there as I kind of press down on this multi-layer foam on the inside of the glove. So there you have it. We'll do the full review, but first let's put them on the scale, see how much they weigh. Actually, let me show you guys the bag it came with. So it comes with this really nice drawstring bag with the green, white, and red colors with the compression clip, and it says Superare right there. So it does come with this nice carrying case. Superare does that for a lot of their gloves, if not all of their gloves, if I can think of. But they also include this really nice carrying case, which adds a nice level of professionalism and more of a higher end feel to the product that you're getting. So start off with the right glove. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers that these are going to be 16 ounces. So the right glove is at 16.7 ounces. So almost an ounce over, 16.7, and the left glove is at 16.4. So not too heavy, not, you know, as far as being overweight, I'd say they're about a half, if you want to average it out, about a ½ ounce overweight, which is not a huge deal at all when it comes to training gloves. But you can see the weight, they're almost on point with weight with each other, and I'd say about a ½ ounce over. So let's go ahead. What's up, guys? Carlo here, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the Superare S50 made in Italy boxing gloves. Got mine in the purple and black, Velcro closure, 16 ounces. You can get it in other sizes and colors as well as lace-up closure. One of my favorite colors I would have chosen if I didn't go with this purple and black is they have this red and black that kind of reminds me of a Ferrari. And these are really intriguing gloves. A lot of people have requested I did a review on them, and so here I am doing the review. I've used this for a couple of weeks now. You guys may have seen the unboxing and first look video I did a while back as well. So from then up to this point, I've been using this part of my rotation to get a really good idea on these gloves. What makes these really intriguing is that outside of DiNardo worldwide, which is a one-person small workshop in Turin, Italy, I don't know anybody else who has actually made Italian boxing gloves, actually made in Italy boxing gloves using Italian materials. And that's what Superare claimed with these gloves. Now I'll kind of get into detail on what I think about that and the actual materials here in a little bit. But that's kind of what the claim to fame when it comes to this particular glove model, so to speak. And I definitely think it's a really cool looking glove. The leather is definitely different than some of the other gloves I've tried. But the shape and the construction of the glove also reminds me of like a Sabas Pro Series in terms of the profile and the shape of the glove. So design-wise, you can see here, it's not an overly huge glove. It's about, I'd say, a medium in profile. I did mention the Sabas Pro Series just because it kind of shares a similar size in both the length and the width of the glove. The purple looks really nice and vibrant. And you do have the Superare logo that kind of has like a shield with the Italian flag colors, as well as the Superare patch on the back of the Velcro strap. Full wraparound Velcro strap, 16-ounce weight tag right there. You can see the split color between the purple and the black. Rotating to the front side, or should I say the inside of the wrist, you can see the Velcro strap all the way through with that leather. And it kind of closes that way with the black piping. You have, I'd say, about 3/4 of an inch of medium to soft density padding on the back, as well as, I'd say, about 3/4 of an inch on the inside of the wrist. You can see the padding comes up to right about here on the outside of the palm, as well as on the inside of the thumb right here, and stops right about here. So that's where your padding kind of ends. Black piping for the thumb, a leather attached thumb. You see the split color with the black and the purple, as well as a split palm with the black and the purple. Nice large grip bar, and that's pretty much it. So all genuine Italian leather that they use on here. If I were to describe this leather, I would say that it kind of reminds me of the Fly boxing glove leather, where it has a nice grain to it, kind of a European look, but a little bit more shinier, has a little bit more of a glossy look to the actual leather. And you can actually see the leather, the grain in the purple is a little bit different. The black is smoother than the purple. The purple has definitely much more of a texture to it than the black, which is much more smoother. And then the inside liner, it's pretty standard. They use a kind of a polyester nylon liner that's pretty smooth. And then it says made in Italy right there. Also an elastic piece in the middle to keep the palm together. Now the quality of gloves, leather-wise, is really nice. I really like the leather on this. It has a unique look and smell to it. It's very nice and supple. I definitely like the grain of the leather. The stitching overall is pretty good on the sides of the gloves. One thing I also forgot to show you right here is, I believe it says, the science of boxing, La Dolce Scienza. So I think that means like the science, and that's actually embossed into the leather right there. So I didn't mention that earlier when I showed it to you, but you can actually feel that texture. So I like that, that extra touch they put there. And you can see the leather looks really good. The actual logo that's printed on here is nice and symmetrical with both gloves. The Velcro strap looks really clean. The Superare patch looks good. It has kind of a gold, metallic gold look to it. And that looks really clean as well. The liner is really nice overall. I wish the liner was a little bit more, I would say, not as bunchy. You can see that it has a little bit of bunchiness to it. So I prefer liners that are a little bit smoother and doesn't bunch up like that. So I'm not a big fan of this portion or this kind of liner. It's not a huge deal, but just something I figured I'd mention. The stitching looks pretty good overall, but the one thing I wanted to show you, just like I showed you guys in the close-up, is for a glove of this value and this price, you would expect better precision when it comes to stitching. So you can see that it doesn't affect anything construction-wise, but from an aesthetic standpoint, you can see that right there, that could have been done much better with being a little bit crooked. Other than that, the double stitching on the grip bar looks great. The leather is tucked in nicely to the fingertip compartment. You can see where the thumb meets the index finger, looks good. The foam feels really good as well. And nice consistency with the foam. You don't feel like there's any kind of any bubbles or imperfections with the foam, especially on the impact area right here. So the foam feels really nice as well. And then lastly is the balance of the gloves. I feel like the balance of the glove is a little bit top heavy. So you can see right there, because the padding doesn't go all the way through, you have this bend, this bend point right here in the glove where it kind of collapses a little bit. And I feel like the padding should have been brought up higher to accommodate and make it a little bit more of a balanced glove. So you can see that it's a little bit on the top heavy side because it's much more front loaded with weight in this glove. So I feel like this could have been done a little bit better as far as balance goes. You can see how much more top heavy this gloves is. So to me, those are really the small issues, just the stitching mishap right there, and then just kind of the balance of the glove, especially in this wrist area, because they use a lot more of that multi-layer foam padding inside the top of the hand. Now the comfort of the gloves, putting these on, are super comfortable. You put your wrist strap on. I feel like with the 16 ounces, with my hand wraps on, these actually fit me perfectly. They don't feel too snug and they don't feel too loose. They accommodate my hands really nicely. Really nice long parallel thumb. Don't feel like there's any issues with any pressure on the bottom of my thumb right here. Nothing on the fingertip, on the fingertip compartment that jams into my finger or my thumb. Beautiful, nice deep finger compartment, which I really like. It's not too wide, so your fingers aren't too spread apart, but not too narrow to where, where your fingers kind of collapse on each other. So I definitely like the fact that it has a good amount of width, and you also have a piece of neoprene that's inside here to really grip down onto and make a nice fist. So I definitely love the comfort of these. They feel really nice and comfortable. Wrist support feels really good as well. I just wish there was a little bit more of that padding they used to go a little bit higher to give a little bit more balance to the glove and to give a little bit more of a snug feel around this section of the hand. But comfort-wise, they feel really good and they feel really nice and soft. So you definitely get a much more broken in feel with these gloves. They're not stiff at all. It has a very nice pliable feel to it. Now, when it comes to protection and performance, speaking of the pliable feeling, this is a much more of a pillowy type of glove. So you can just see how soft the foam is. And I'm not a huge fan of overly pillowy gloves. I feel like they use a multi-layer foam padding in here, but the amount of foam on here is a little bit too much than my liking. If they kind of came down a little bit more with it, just to kind of show you guys, I have my Underdog gloves right here from Underdog Fight Company, and you could just see kind of the thickness. And these are real similar to like the Pro Series also in terms of just the design. These are made in Pakistan, but you can actually see just how much more thicker the padding on the Superare gloves are. There's just so much more padding. So these are really nice if you're going to use these for sparring, and they're good really for all around training. But if you're looking for a glove that gives you a lot of pop, I feel like these give you a little bit more of a thudding feeling when you're hitting the bag with these, just because of how pillowy these gloves are. So great for sparring, you know, good protection, but just a lot of foam over the knuckles. And so when you're hitting your target, it almost feels like there's kind of like a puffing. I don't know if there's a puffing feeling, but almost like when you push down on a piece of foam real fast and you feel like the air kind of like gets pushed out of the foam. That's kind of the sensation you get with this glove when you punch with it. You feel like the kind of like the air is getting pushed out of the foam rather than it being like a dense piece of foam. So if it was me, what I would have maybe have done with the layered foam padding is remove a layer and maybe put like a piece of EVA or rubber sheet, so that you get the protection but a little bit more pop and a little bit more stiffness in between maybe the layers of foam. So when you do hit your target, you get a little bit more of a popping feeling, and it reduces the amount of foam over the knuckles. But that's just me. So that's kind of where these gloves perform. I'd say these are a little bit more of like a sparring glove based on the kind of foam that they use on this. But by no means a bad glove. Just that's where my thoughts come in when I was using this on the bag, hitting the mitts with them. I wish these had a little bit more pop, if that makes any sense, with these gloves. So cost-wise, these gloves range anywhere from $199, so $200 to $250. You know, for me, it's really hard because there's not really any other company except from DiNardo that makes Italian gloves, and DiNardo is way up there in terms of pricing, some of the most expensive gloves, but they're also a much more of a boutique, you know, it's kind of a quality over quantity type of business model that they go with. So you're not getting a ton of gloves out there like you would some other glove makers. So you know, for $200, if you're really looking for some really nice quality gloves, you know, if you really want to try the Italian leather, which I really like as well, I feel like Superare could do a better job of cleaning up the stitching as well as balancing the gloves out, especially with the padding around the wrist area. Then around $200 is a pretty good price. I mean, considering there's gloves like Rival that are $160 for some synthetic gloves like the RS series gloves. You know, I definitely like the leather on these more than the microfiber and the Rivals in terms of just the quality and the feel of a glove. But there's a couple little tweaks I would make to this glove that would make it absolutely perfect and definitely a good value at the price that they're asking, once they can get all the minor adjustments in with these gloves. So if you guys have any questions or comments, as usual, put them down below. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Superare S50 gloves. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.